Why did the Titanic, a majestic ship that took over 3 years and 1,200 days to build, sink in just 2 hours? This question has haunted people for over a century. April 10, 1912, marked the day when the Titanic, the world's largest, most luxurious, and supposedly unsinkable ship, set sail on its maiden voyage. The excitement surrounding its launch was unmatched. The weather was perfect, the Atlantic Ocean was calm, and there was no sign of impending disaster. Over 1,500 passengers were on board, and millions of people gathered at the docks to watch the ship depart, unaware that they were witnessing history in the making. But this grand journey was doomed from the start. No one, not the passengers, the well-wishers, nor even the ship's experienced crew, knew that the Titanic was about to meet a tragic fate due to a series of critical errors made during its construction and operation. What were these mistakes, and how did such a remarkable ship fall victim to them? Today, you're watching Witness World, where we provide you with captivating documentaries about some of the most intriguing historical events. Let's dive into the 6 fatal mistakes that turned the Titanic from a symbol of success into a tragic legend. Let's start with the first mistake. Even Captain Edward Smith, who had 40 years of naval experience, failed to recognize the danger. And it wasn't just the captain. The White Star Line, with 107 years of experience running ships, missed the signs too. Even the renowned shipbuilding company Harland and Wolff, who had already constructed over 500 ships, didn't spot these errors. The Titanic's construction began in 1909, and after 3 years of intense labor by over 2,000 workers, the ship was finally ready. Titanic passed its initial tests with flying colors, and excitement reached fever pitch. It was marketed as Unsinkable, and tickets were sold out almost immediately. The ship was set to sail from Southampton to New York, carrying the rich and famous, along with many others eager for the journey of a lifetime. Mistake number 1, speed. At exactly noon on April 10th, Titanic embarked on its maiden voyage. Captain Smith, under immense pressure from the ship's owners to make it to New York by April 17th, decided to push the ship to full speed. This decision ignored the safety protocols and speed limits for ocean voyages. Titanic was moving faster than it should have been, which would prove disastrous. Mistake number 2, ignoring iceberg warnings. 3 days into the voyage, on the evening of April 14th, the sea was eerily quiet, shrouded in thick fog. That night, another ship, which was ahead of the Titanic, sent multiple iceberg warnings over the wireless. Experts believe the warnings were issued at least 6 times. However, these urgent messages were ignored by Titanic's wireless operators, who were likely overwhelmed with the sheer volume of other messages. This lack of action on critical information became the second fatal mistake. Mistake number 3, lack of binoculars. Even after receiving the warnings, Titanic continued its journey at full speed. The lookouts on duty were alert, but they didn't have binoculars. This crucial tool was left behind, meaning they couldn't spot icebergs from a distance. Without the proper equipment, the lookout team was unable to see the iceberg until it was too late. This was the third mistake that sealed the ship's fate. Mistake number 4, underestimating the iceberg. When the iceberg was finally spotted, Captain Smith ordered the engines to reverse and the ship to turn. However, the Titanic was already too close. Despite the crew's efforts, the collision was inevitable. The ship's steel hull, not as strong as originally believed, buckled upon impact. The iceberg's sharp force ripped through the ship, causing it to take on water. This was the fourth mistake, underestimating the power of the iceberg. Mistake number 5, design flaw. Titanic had been designed to stay afloat with 3 flooded compartments, but unfortunately, the water began to spill over into a 4th compartment. This meant that the ship was doomed. Titanic's creators had never anticipated that the damage could be so extensive. The 5th mistake was a fatal design flaw that compromised the ship's ability to stay afloat. Mistake number 6, lifeboat shortage. The final mistake was perhaps the most heart-wrenching. Despite being designed to carry 2,000 people, Titanic only had enough lifeboats for 1,178 passengers. But even those lifeboats were not used effectively. The ship had 32 lifeboats, but only 20 were brought aboard. Due to poor planning and negligence, there weren't enough boats for everyone. This was the sixth and most devastating mistake. As the ship slowly sank, panic took over. Passengers scrambled to board the few lifeboats available. And the wealthy first-class passengers were given priority. The first lifeboat was lowered at 12:45 a.m., but it was far from full. Many people, especially in third class, were left behind in the chaos. If the lifeboats had been properly filled, more lives could have been saved. At 2:18 a.m., the Titanic's lights flickered out due to a short circuit. Within moments, the ship snapped in two. Titanic finally sank into the icy waters of the Atlantic Ocean. It took 2 hours and 40 minutes for the ship to disappear completely beneath the surface. The freezing water, at a chilling -2 degrees Celsius, meant that anyone who fell in had no chance of survival. Over 1,500 people perished that night, including many who had boarded without tickets. The survivors were mostly women and children, and in the end, Captain Edward Smith was the last person to leave the ship. After helping as many passengers as he could, he leaped into the frigid waters just moments before Titanic's final plunge. It was a tragic end to what had been a symbol of human achievement and ambition. The story of the Titanic serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of how hubris, poor decisions, and oversights can turn a masterpiece into a tragedy. The ship may have been hailed as unsinkable, but it was the mistakes made in its construction and operation that truly sank it. Thank you for watching Witness World, your destination for engaging documentaries. Stay tuned for more thought-provoking stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.